Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and I'm a little bit behind in my recording, so I still wanted to get this out because this is my SmackDown review. It's pretty past Raw, so I have a bunch of videos coming up on this today that are out. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you check out a couple because there'll be a few that are coming today just because I'm behind. But it's like I like cataloging it, I like having it, and I had thoughts about it, so I wanted to make sure I still make the video, but I'm a little bit late, which is just unfortunate for me because it means the video probably would be a little bad in the views. But hey, I just do this for fun. So let's just jump into SmackDown. SmackDown was an interesting bag of choice. I'm gonna say there's a lot that happened in it, a lot of good, a lot of bad. So we're just gonna jump into it. So first off, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Piper Niven. Um, this was just kind of a mismatch. I don't really necessarily know why they decided to do this. Like, I feel like you should be making Tiffany look good. Like, so having her against an opponent that she can handle and show off and do good stuff against is probably the better thing to be doing with her about to take on Charlotte Flair. Obviously, Charlotte attacked her at the end, which I think was, a good call to do. Like, Gunther's doing something similar on the other side. So it's like, it makes sense to have them do that, but it just kind of fell flat. I'm gonna put the match and see. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, and it was pretty short, but I don't necessarily know why they did it. Also, some of this is out of order because I just the pictures didn't want to really get in here. I had to get like a bunch of these clipped photos from X, so the pictures aren't great. But yeah, then we had Naomi and Bianca, with Naomi saying that she did attack Jade. I thought it was, a pretty good twist. I kind of already assumed it was going to be Naomi. I thought there was going to be a possibility that Bianca framed her, but I think they're going to get rid of that narrative, which I honestly like that a little bit better than this. It's not a bad thing. I definitely think like this storyline will cook, and obviously Naomi and Jade have a face-to-face match probably coming really soon, if not at WrestleMania. So I think that was really cool. Jade came down in just an absolute awesome outfit. After that, the whole segment I think was honestly S tier, and I really honestly hate that like Bianca won the Elimination Chamber because of this whole thing, because this storyline is so gripping and so good that we don't really like. Bianca doesn't need to be in the storyline and in the title match. Like, she already has a perfectly built match here, because it could easily be like Naomi versus Jade, and then right before WrestleMania, and then Naomi takes out Jade permanently, so then Bianca has to turn on Naomi like fully to like fist fighting. Like, they could have done a lot of stuff. Like, obviously Bianca's gonna be in that championship match, which is way better for her career, but like I feel like the story was hot enough that they didn't need to do that. But I mean, again, that match will still also cook, so it's not a bad thing. And then we had a tag team triple threat. Honestly, like the SmackDown tag division is really good with having teams, but like I also don't really ever know what they're doing sometimes, because it felt like this was a little random, because like Pretty Deadly got squashed by DIY, so like I don't know why they would then have another opportunity against them. I guess it's just to kind of further the storyline with everybody else. Um, but maybe DIY versus Street Profits, because Street Profits have the match for the titles, so maybe that's why they did it, so they can start re-upping a brand new thing. So I guess it works. The match itself was okay. It was really short to really rate it super high. I'd probably put it in C. I felt like they could have definitely gave them like 2-3 minutes more, and that would have probably cooked that match a little bit better. But I think it was pretty bad with not having that extra time. Then we had Braun Strowman versus Solo, that ended up in no contest. Not much of a point to this match. I know like they're building up like a rivalry with everything else, but it just kind of felt that it was flat. I honestly don't know why it was like it needed to be a no contest thing. I mean, I feel like they should have just jumped him before the match started and it been like nothing. I think a no match would have been better than to just wait 7 minutes for no reason. So I'm gonna put it in D. I didn't like it at all. Then we had Randy Orton cut a promo against KO, and yeah, I mean, you kind of forget sometimes that Randy Orton's so good on the mic, because he's just so good in the ring and does so much stuff, especially as being like a heel, that like, yeah, he could still do the babyface thing like he was doing, and it worked out really well. And eventually led with a backstage segment of him going with Carmelo Hayes this week, I think. So that's going to be a pretty good match too, I think. So I think overall, I'd put this up in the S. I feel like most of the speaking promos and stuff like that was really good this, week. It just felt like the matches were a little bit subpar. Then we had the WWE United States title match for the women on a street fight. It was Chelsea Green versus Meacham. I'm kind of bored of this matchup, but it was kind of cool that Chelsea Green got saved by Alba Fire that now might be joining her as like a faction. I'm kind of cool with that. I mean, obviously, Alba Fire has lost her tag team partner, and there's really what else can you do with her? So if this gets her screen time and hopefully some matches, I'm gonna be cool with it because I like Alba Fire. I think she's a solid wrestler, so I feel like this will definitely help. And hopefully, maybe they'll set up a what I'm thinking the next progression of matches would be Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Alba Fire versus Meacham, BFAB, and Zelina Vega, and then possibly having something go from there because I think Zelina Vega is probably going to be next in line for the U.S. title, and I think she is probably going to be the next person who takes it off of Chelsea Green. But I think they could probably progress that story a little bit longer with having like a 6 women tag match to kind of show off a little bit more of that mid card that seems to sometimes get a look and sometimes doesn't. So I'd probably put this match in a I guess I'd put B. It wasn't a bad match. It was a little short, but I don't think I completely hated it. I just kind of didn't like that it was again against Meacham, which Meacham's fine, but like we need other women in there to have chances and like at least rotate them a little bit better. But there wasn't anything. Then we had Drew versus Jimmy. I guess it was just to try to make you know Drew look better, and well, obviously knew that Damian Priest would attack him because he attacked Damian Priest in the beginning of the show. Um, it felt very odd. I don't know what they're doing with Jimmy. Like I felt like they gave him a little momentum by beating Jay or not Jay by beating Drew, and I felt like they should have done something with that. Instead, they skipped him out on that U.S. title thing last week, which I definitely think he should have been added into, and they kind of just got him squashed here. And I just don't know what they're doing. I don't mind the Drew McIntyre Damian Priest storyline. I think that would be a solid feud going into WrestleMania and a solid match between the two because they both don't have anything going, but they do have history, and like I think it would be worth it. I think it's something to explore, but I think this match wasn't it for me, and I think they just keep burying Jimmy, unfortunately. Then we had Cody Rhodes come down, talk about the whole John Cena thing. Cody did just masterful work on the mic. I think you definitely get him the more rally. I think people are getting behind this storyline really well, and it's definitely building up WrestleMania really nicely on this side of the things. Obviously, like I feel like the Royal Rumble winner always has like the better shot because like they have this huge time. They have like from February all the way on, so they have like quite a bit of time to build up a feud and do stuff. And you always get excited about that first one, and then sometimes that Elimination Chamber feud is just kind of like somebody that's good. But I feel like it's the opposite this year. I feel like the Elimination Chamber winners have a way better storyline going into WrestleMania than the Royal Rumble winners, because like Charlotte Flair nobody really cares about, and really most of them didn't want her to win, and Tiffany Stratton people like, but they don't want Charlotte to beat her, and that seems might be the inevitable thing. And then on the opposite side, you have Jay, who's extremely over, but they really didn't want him to go against Gunther again. So like they're excited to see that build up, but there's not much going there because they're not like they're just kind of attacking each other, but it's mainly just Jay coming in for saves and then getting attacked by Gunther, and it just kind of feels like Jay's kind of behind, which obviously is what they're building up for the babyface run. But I feel like it's not as good of a build as like obviously John Cena, Cody Rhodes is having, and then Bianca and now Io Sky. So I guess we'll see. So I would put this in S tier though. I liked it. It was good. And then we had the main event, which was LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. title. There's a few things here on this one. Obviously, I think the match itself, I think was okay. Obviously, I like the whole the ending sequence was really good with the missing and hitting the ref, and then both of them getting counts where they would have won. So like it was just kind of all that crazy. Next ref coming in and then finally finishing it off. I thought all that the ending sequence in itself was pretty good. The decision to put it on LA Knight is not really a bad thing. I feel like they just didn't know what to do with Shinsuke Nakamura. They built up a good character, a good everything. And I don't know. I think they just kind of like him more being the shadowy bad guy instead of the person that you chase. I don't know. I feel like they could have definitely gotten some more matches in there for him. I mean, he had like a 97-day title reign, and what was it? Like he really didn't get those matches or that respect to really get out there. And I think his gimmick is good, but I think it definitely is going to lose a lot with not having the belt, because he kind of like he progressed from being like a really good fighter, babyface, to going like unhinged, like kind of lurking in the shadows, attacking Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes last year, which was pretty cool. And then he kind of went from being like, I'm this like dark assassin, but now I'm like a dark samurai or like dark wanderer. Like I'm going like I'm like more you know well known and more way out there because now I got the belt. But like now that you take the belt away, it's kind of like, what does he do? Like, where do you put him, especially this close to WrestleMania? Because obviously LA Knight should be able to build up something. I do think the US title is probably not going to have like a huge storyline. I think it's going to be like one of those things where he faces like 4 or 5 dudes for it, and they just put all the men that are in the mid card on SmackDown, which is a solid division. But I don't really think there's going to be any. I think they just have not enough time to build up that huge feud. But he does have a month, and I think LA Knight could get a feud built up compared to what they thought Shinsuke Nakamura. But I'll put this overall on a B. Strange decision to do it there, but I don't necessarily hate it, but I also just hate it for Nakamura because I like Nakamura as champion. I just didn't like that they didn't give him anything to do as champion, and yeah, I feel like it was definitely a missed opportunity. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. This was SmackDown. The Raw review will also be up today, and a couple other prediction videos because there's like a bunch of stuff going on today. So until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.